Welcome to the
up,
Lazy
guys?
Roller Podcast. I beat you. I beat you to it. Welcome
Well,
to the
you
Lazy Roller
stopped.
Podcast. I am still talking.
You stop.
I am the host.
Whatever.
I am
I'm just saying.
the host.
They liked it better when I did the introduction.
They did, didn't they? No, they didn't.
They put it in the comments.
No, they didn't. I think you own that account that put it in the comments.
No, there was at least 7 comments from different accounts.
All of them's him. You just made fake accounts and kept going with it.
No, I'm way too lazy for that.
I got myself my podcast coffee. I'm ready to sit back.
I didn't have any coffee, so I'm going to let Sage continue with this
things.
introduction.
Oh, yeah. So the introduction. This is Shadowrunner Podcast. And did I take your joke? And this is Marcus. I'm going to try to take all your jokes from you before you can actually do any of them. This is Lazy Roller Podcast. Welcome. And it's super lazy today because there's actually not that much to talk about. I'm Sage.
I introduced you for my introduction. You will introduce me.
And this is Buttface McGee.
I'm Nate, and I'm going to kill the person to my right.
We're two-manning it because Patrick is a college student. So he's just gone doing schoolwork or something?
Schoolwork. And then the other lazy king is off fighting Smaug atop the Empire State Building, riding atop of King Kong.
Hopefully you guys saw that in the news this last week.
Don't worry, though. Han Solo showed up with the aluminum falcon, did a dovetail.
Aluminum Falcon?
Hey,
The hell's the aluminum falcon?
What the hell is an aluminum falcon?
That's what I just said. What the hell is an aluminum falcon?
Exactly.
I can't even say that. Like, I love aluminum falcon.
Millennium?
Yes,
Falcon?
there you go.
Whatever.
He is in New York. The rest of that stuff, not so true.
What?
Just saying.
No. He sent me pictures of him fighting a dragon.
You're right, and Photoshop doesn't exist. So, super lazy.
Is that a store?
Photoshop? Yes, it's by Adobe. Have you seen that video?
Adobe.
Look it up. So today we will be talking about a whole lot of nothing.
No, today we will be talking about how we're going to purchase a gold iWatch.
Which is what I meant by a whole lot of nothing.
No, it's innovative.
We're gonna fill 3 hours of presser for what people honestly care about 3 things in total.
It
Ready?
was only
Filibuster.
90 minutes, so it was like, what, an hour and 30 minutes, maybe?
So it was like one Lazy Revolver podcast.
We don't do an hour and 30 minutes. We
we-
do an hour.
I measure time in Lazy Revolver podcasts. It's on my watch. My iWatch.
Non-existent gold iWatch.
Except it's not the iWatch. It's the Apple Watch. That's the difference.
It's an iWatch. Everyone's going to call it iWatch. I'm going to call it iWatch. It's an iWatch.
They put the Apple logo in front of the word watch. And people still call it an iWatch.
I'm sorry. Everyone replaces the Apple symbol with an I.
So basically we're talking about Apple had a press release, and the big thing that they were going to talk about was the iWatch. And some of the cool things that it does is you can send little messages by the touch screen on the watch piece.
Yeah, it monitors your health.
Monitors your health. It's expensive as shit.
Almost nothing really innovative about it other than the weird gadget they put on.
The fact that it's Apple. I think somebody was saying that they're like redefining themselves as luxury devices, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's pretty much a that's I have too much money and I need to write it off in taxes.
So there's 3 versions of the iWatch. There's the I'm cheap but I really like technology one. That's like I think base level is like $300 or $500. I didn't do the research.
What?
How much is it?
It's
like $500 or something. I think for the cheap one.
It's up there.
Then there's the I like pricey things, but I'm not insane. and it's basically the exact same thing. Spec is completely the same, all that, except for it's got a silver band. You know, you're paying for that expensive ass metal, and that one I think breaks the $1,000 barrier. It's like 2 or 3, I think.
That's more than a phone.
And then the final one is worth $10,000. And this one actually is a really special one because everything that they basically put everything into this watch and then put gold on it. And the gold is what you're paying for.
When you say everything,
it's the exact same stuff. It's the exact same stuff, but it's everything of the exact same stuff before. So that's the difference.
Oh my god! But it's in gold.
I do not know how much gold they put into this, but I do not think it's worth $10,000 worth of gold. They better put some diamonds in that shit.
No, it's
as well.
Obviously worth $10,000 worth of gold. Although I'm almost certain that it's going to be fake gold, and I'm almost certain.
What? You're saying that they wouldn't put an extremely conductive metal as a casing around your watch that touches your skin constantly?
That would be because it's a waste of using gold. Why would you use gold for a casing?
Because you have the money to. Why would you use gold to put on your teeth?
First world
it's called
problems.
A grill, Nate.
First world
Get
problems.
with the times.
It's another waste of gold. I am with the scientific community saying that we take tons of resources and then just waste them on dumb things.
I saw a gold-plated USB 3 cable. I thought it was funny because the fiber optic one was more expensive than it because the USB 3 cable could only do like I think 5 gigabits of data transfer at a time, and then the optical one was like 10 and above. It was like, but it's gold. It's made of gold.
That's exactly everything you have to tell anyone. I'll sell you this car. Doesn't work, but there's a gold nugget in the driver's seat.
Honestly, though, that you know how much like a gold nugget is worth? A full like the cartoon level gold nuggets. No, those things are those things are pricey. Yeah, you're talking about like a little nugget.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like I guess I'm thinking of an ingot.
Yeah,
a gold ingot. Yeah, those things are like that big. Those things would be worth one gold ingot is worth one iWatch. Think about that for a second. Those things are also heavy.
What
very heavy.
Waste.
So break into Fort Knox, melt down some gold.
You know that they basically probably just purchased a bunch of shit from.
Put your iPhone in the gold nugget. See, what's the funny thing is going to happen is they're going to come out next year. They're going to come out with a iWatch, but it's the iWatch Plus.
Yeah.
And it essentially is your phone with a wrist strap. And it's the exact same thing. It's all the same specs and everything. And it's like, this one comes with a camera. Look. It's like,
no, you want to know what's going to be better? They're going to come out with a $50,000 one. Don't steal this from me, Apple. It's going to be clear.
You got to make it and call it the iWatch.
Is it's glass, but it's only Gorilla Glass 4. So
sapphire glass.
Oh, sapphire glass.
Because sapphire glass is the thing they're using now. Yep.
So basically, you'll have this watch that's see-through, and you'll be able to see all the mechanics, and that will be everyone's distinction of how rich you are. Because why not buy a camera or something? Or
this reminds me of
or an office
of a episode in Parks and Rec where they're like talking to businesses, like really successful businesses, and one of them is like, we provide all organic food. Right here is our designer new line of freshly squeezed juice from a cow's teat. Completely organic. And he's like, that's milk. And he's like, yes, but this is maleke. And she looked at it and did this whole presentation. And he was like, that's milk. And she's like, and he was like, but what's the difference in the milk? And their friends turn to him and say, well, the difference is milk is like $2.80, whereas malike is $53.42. It's like, that's the difference. It's like that's Apple for you. Yeah, what's the difference? Ours is more expensive.
That's what it gets in. That brings up a whole argument about organic stuff being priced like way too high, and then inorganic stuff being priced way too low.
I have a friend at the studio who was talking about how he wants to buy some land and just plant his own, like have his own farm, and like that's his retirement plan because he's like buying stuff at the store is bullshit. I'm like, that's a good reason, but do you realize how much work it takes to have a farm? He's like, don't worry about it. Like, all right, that's
don't worry about it. You do know that you're gonna wake up like 3 a.m. to tend to all your crops. Not be done
that are most likely dead because of different types of infections, and also the fact that there's mosquitoes out the ass here in Arizona.
Yeah, and our land is pretty dry, so you have to definitely treat a lot of it.
But don't worry about it. Buy an Apple Watch. All right, so that's the first thing Apple talked about.
Yeah. Oh, then we have to talk about
super horse shit.
Hey, don't worry, because to make up for it, they made sure that the USB is going to be outdated with the USB-C because Thunderbolt was a commercial failure.
Well, hold on. It's still technically a Thunderbolt connector. Technically. But now here's let's go with a positive. Let's these stupid shit with the Apple Watch. Let's start with the positives of it. So it is kind of cool. It does charge your phone and send data through the same connector. That is kind of cool, you have to admit. If you could charge your computer thing, I'm referencing off the screen, if you could charge the computer while also having your hard drive connected and power your hard drive through that same connection, that would be kind of cool, you have to admit.
We already do it with the USB.
Not charge your computer, you still have to have a computer charger. The USB can power small hard drives, but not fast enough to battle the usage of the computer.
What do we have that we ever need that? Because right now we have
all of them 4K Retina. What if I need to charge my Apple Watch, Nate? I need to charge it through USB-C.
You're gonna charge your Apple Watch.
Apple Watch.
So you want to charge your Apple Watch?
What is an Apple Watch?
From your HDD
hard disk drive? Yes.
Why?
Yes, I will. Because fuck you. That's why.
Because that makes no sense.
Because I'm Apple.
You're just gonna end up draining the power from your hard drive.
Well, that was the big thing with Thunderbolt is daisy chaining. So I mean, technically, you could do that. You just daisy chain and have one connection for everything.
Or you could do the normal thing and just plug in your laptop.
Well, you're doing that now, except, it also does other things too. Because it's the laptop charger. It's the only port on the whole laptop.
That's such a waste.
It's the only port on the whole laptop. No optical drive, of course. They already got rid of that. And it charges your computer as well as connects you to all your devices.
That was the best conversation as well. Trying to give you software, and you're all, awesome, I'll take the disk. Oh wait, I don't have a disk drive.
The ironic thing is I had to plug it into my old PC, take all the data off of it, put it on a thumb drive, and then put it into my computer.
Hey, digital's the way of the future.
You didn't have it digital.
Digital's the way of the future.
So it wasn't my fault. So that's all the good things about it, which I think we listed one, maybe.
It's gold.
It is not gold. That's not true. But
it's silver.
So now here's the shitty things. To use any connector, you must have an adapter. So the universal serial bus, universal being the key word, type C, you need an adapter for everything. Even, I think, Thunderbolt.
But don't worry. It's universal.
Now, and here's the other thing. The adapter, I bet you they're going to send it out at first with an adapter that's all separate adapters. So it's like you plug in your adapter for your USB and you have one USB. You plug in your adapter for a DVI, you have one DVI. You have a adapter for HDMI, you have one connection. But then they're going to sell, and I'm sure it's going to come out, they're going to sell their Apple port hub that's going to be the size of the computer, and it's going to have every port you need, but it all connects through one port. Which then I look at that and I go, why didn't you just put that on the computer?
Because
okay, sales
it makes it slimmer, so you can fit it into tight places easier, and it's less heavy.
It is most definitely less heavy by a whole 2 grams.
Exactly.
Those ports,
2 grams,
they get crazy.
Are a difference between your grandma breaking her wrist trying to lift the laptop, or her being able to simply place it wherever she wants, whenever she pleases.
Episode 15 is the sarcastic podcast. I already can tell the tone is gone.
No, instantly. First off, I already get pissed when phones keep getting smaller and more fragile, and get rid of all these disk drives, get rid of all these USB hubs, get rid of all this stuff. And then it's like,
what
why?
the fuck kind of phone do you have? You have USB hubs on your phone and hard disk drives? It vibrates in your hand when you turn it on?
Yes, it's perfect.
Spins up?
No, I'm just talking, just in general with technology right now.
Oh, okay, I get you.
Then they go, to compensate for what we got rid of.
Compensation.
You have to purchase more for the computer that already costs more that you just spent money on to make it as functional as the last computer that you had that we stopped updating.
And not only, Nate, do you have to buy external shit, but let's say you want to use the Thunderbolt, the really fast connection, because I really do want to use Thunderbolt. It actually is a good connection if you can afford it, but it's about $20 to $30 per Thunderbolt for 10 inches. Now let me put that in perspective. $20 to $30 for a Thunderbolt cable connects to one Thunderbolt device. Now they say, oh well, you can daisy chain. Well, that's another Thunderbolt cable, and that's another. So let's say you want to daisy chain 3 monitors and a hard disk or SSD, Thunderbolt SSD. That you've already spent about $200 on cabling alone. So now take $200. Let me buy a USB. How many USB cables could I buy with $200? Probably 200 of them. I think USB cables are running for like $1 to $3.
Yeah.
Now let's look at USB-C. You're buying a separate computer. You're essentially buying another PC laptop in cables.
But
it's gold.
It's a little faster than Thunderbolt. But it goes through a Thunderbolt adapter, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it just chokes it immediately. Here's the other thing I think is interesting. The fact that Thunderbolt and USB 3.1 has a 10 gigabit a second transfer rate. Putting that in perspective, the 750 hard disk drive, 750 RPM, not $750, or 7,500 RPM. That's what I mean to say. 7,500 RPM hard disk drive writes at about, I think it's on 500 megabytes a second. Or am I thinking SSDs? I think the fastest SSD is about that spot. Yeah. So an SSD writes at about 500 megabits a second. You get one connection to Thunderbolt to write 10 gigabit speeds. You're not even using a third of what that Thunderbolt can actually do.
Nope.
So glad we spent $40 on that cable. That's also is being outmoded by the people that made it.
But you can only buy maybe like 20 XLRs for that price, right?
Probably.
No, they're $11. They're $11. Like
really?
You can buy.
But they're gold plated.
You can buy.
There are gold plated XLRs.
You don't need
more
gold
expensive.
plated.
I'm gonna step away for a second.
We really don't need gold plated stuff. And what are you doing? Trying to turn the switch on icebox now?
I'm turned off the air conditioning.
Oh.
I realized it was on.
Well, that's perfect for Arizona.
Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. This room's gonna be so cool.
When the camera sets on fire, you'll know it's not because the room's hot as shit, but because it's not gold.
Gold is supposedly very heat resistant.
Oh my god. This is not what you use it for.
It's not true. It's not heat resistant. I was lying.
This is not what you use it for.
So, the other thing, by the way, I actually looked up, I was like, okay, well, it is the next generation of MacBook. Next generation, what does that mean to you? What does next generation mean to you?
Leap forward.
Leap forward? In what way? In what way?
In specs.
In spec? So it would have better specs, right?
Yeah.
Incorrect. It is...
Well, we're talking about Apple, so...
It is about $1,500, I believe, is what it costs. And the current MacBook that is at that same price has better specs in everything. In everything. Now, let me put that into perspective. It has a standard definition camera on it. Let's just take a second to think about that for a second. It doesn't have. My laptop. It's the $5,000 version, so it's a little. I mean, you expect it to do a little bit better, but almost every MacBook has had a 720 camera on it for FaceTime, because FaceTime is their big thing. Like they it's video chatting and everything. It has a 480, and it's like what I think it was like 4 to 8 gigs, I think, of RAM.
Yeah.
The processor is an i5, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember all of it off the top of my head. It's not. I was looking at it and I was like, this is not worth $1,500.
Hey, if Apple tells you to buy a pile of shit, you're gonna buy a pile of shit.
Because it's thin shit. It's really, really thin shit.
They have literally gone generations with doing minimal upgrades.
Amount of coffee.
Occasionally they'll do a giant upgrade when they're all, someone else is catching up to us. Let's release the Thunderbolt.
USB-C.
USB-C is just not gonna.
It's
not gonna take off
it's a universal serial bus.
No one's gonna use it because everyone has USB-A or at most.
Is there such a thing as USB-B?
Yeah, USB-B is the square that you see on the old hard drives.
Oh,
giant square.
Interesting.
Plug.
I only use USB.
USB-A is the rectangle.
I do my best to use USB all the time when I can.
Yeah. Except
for when I can use Thunderbolt, and in which case somebody needs to like donate me a Thunderbolt cable, because I can't. I lost my. So this isn't Thunderbolt, but this is the Lightning Bolt, which is the phone charger cable. You know, that little tiny thing.
Did they replace it yet?
Replace it. It's like I don't have a warranty on my phone. Pfft.
No, I mean, is the Lightning Bolt out of date yet?
I think they are coming out with a Lightning Bolt 2.
Oh.
But it's not out yet.
Yeah,
so I'm still ahead of the curve. But I lost it, and I've been like, I'm gonna, I'll go buy a new phone charger. $20 for a phone charger. $20 for a fucking phone charger. I have a phone charger for the car, and that's what I've been using. I've been just leaving my phone in the car to charge because I'm not buying a $20 cable.
My cable is USB.
It's mini USB.
Yeah, mini USB to USB.
Be specific.
That adapts to pretty much anything. I can take a cord from the PS4 box and use this to charge it. And I've had mini USB or is it micro USB since probably 5 generations?
So what you're saying is that if I gave you a USB-C, because it's a universal serial hub or bus, you can plug it into that phone?
No, because
exactly.
That's Apple.
But it's a universal serial bus. I keep wanting to say hub. It's a universal. It says it in the name. Universal. Every single time you see a square on a computer, you know that's USB.
Yeah.
You know that's USB, and no matter if you use USB 2 or USB 3 or USB 3.1, it will go into that bus. I can put a USB 3 cable into a USB 2 port, and it will work. I can put a USB 2 cable into a USB 3 port, and it will work. Put a USB-C, guess what? It won't even fit. It's not the same size. It's bullshit.
That's why they just make it a little bit wider by like 0.2 inches.
So that extra data can flow.
Exactly. To make sure they can't use it on the other one so they're not confused.
Yep.
That it doesn't go to their old laptop.
Yep.
So then they buy a new one. See, this is perfect for being able to just take all the money of your consumer. See, we got to make sure that they buy all the new stuff that we're coming out with.
We got to make sure that we make enough dumb shit that, and yes, I am cursing because it is dumb. I am a huge Apple fan. I love Apple. I love their interface. I love the Mac experience. I love all that. I hate Apple as a company, though, that makes, just lately they've been making dumb shit. Stupid things where it's like, oh, we're going to change this because. Not we're going to change this because here's all the things it does. Because guess what? You know what, Lightning Bolt, how it charges your phone so fast and everything like that? Everyone puts their phone on a charger overnight anyway. So it's not like I need speed for that. It's going to get charged even if I put it into a USB with a slower charge rate. Let's say, all right, well, how about the data transfer rate? Yeah, you're right. I want to plug in my phone every single time to transfer it, to transfer my thing to anyone. Newsflash, Apple, guess what? When somebody wants to give themselves a picture and they can't plug in they don't want to plug in their phone, they email it to themselves. You put the email app on there. Guess what? That takes magic pixie dust from the sky and puts it on your computer without a freaking cable. That's $20.
Can't you just pull out your SD and then just plug it into your computer?
SD? No, you don't have an SD card on an iPhone.
Well, that sucks.
You have an SD card on that thing?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you can actually increase and decrease the size yourself?
Yeah.
Oh. You sure you're saying that you could actually have a 64 gig card and 64 gig phone instead of having to buy an extra $300 phone?
Well, technically, but you just have the added space of whatever micro SD you put in your phone.
This sounds like silence to the audio podcast. I'm staring into the camera right now, and I will describe it. Because Apple, if you're listening, and I know you are, fix your shit.
Hashtag Sage Rage.
You have already started taking some tips from Android on your phone by making it huge as shit, which honestly, I will say, I like the 6 Plus. I don't have it yet, but I really do like it because I use my phone more as a computer than I ever have before. And the extra screen space and the larger battery is a good idea. Bravo on that. You're doing good on that. You fucked up this last time, though. You done fucked up. And you know what the worst thing is? And this will be the last thing before we get off on our Mac rage. Sage Rage 2015. They're starting to sell their products the same way that you see in the console wars that I really hate.
Yeah.
So HBO Go was one of the other big things, or it's an HBO, or is it like a different? It's HBO Go, but it's something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
going
by
we
different.
had Netflix and Crackle and.
They are basically putting that on Apple TV. And without like a cable subscription or anything like that, so you can get HBO Go. Which before you had to have a cable subscription to HBO to have access to the app, which is stupid. I don't know why they did that, because why wouldn't you just watch the show or DVR it?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of the app at that point? But, so they're basically having HBO Go be on Apple TV, and it's going to be exclusively on Apple TV, like as that kind of service, for about 3 weeks.
Only 3 weeks?
It's about a month. Apple TV users will have the exclusive experience of HBO Go.
But only for 3 weeks.
Exactly. which is where I go. Like, look, let's put this in context to like PlayStation, Xbox.
Yeah.
Exclusives are the only reason you buy one or the other. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
there is some fandom to it, but it's like exclusives are what sell consoles. Which exclusives are shitty, and I hate it because it makes it so that you can't actually play with your friends, even though you all have the same games.
PC Master Race.
PC Master Race, which is the other thing that's funny. It's like with game exclusives, just on a tangent here.
Yeah.
Like it's like it comes out exclusively on PlayStation 4 and PC if you don't really pay attention to that.
Yeah, because it's pretty easy to release something on PC. Just click, go.
Just like how it's really easy to release things on games on Mac, right? Sage Rage 2015.
You know, the funniest thing was how you were talking about having Steam on Mac.
Which they do.
And how empty the store is.
Which it is. You know what is even worse? So I got my new computer. I got the new computer like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's been great. I decided I was going to download Steam because there was a couple of Mac games I had in my Steam library. Downloaded Steam and would not open on that Mac. I do not know if they've updated it yet or not, but Mac completely broke the Steam store. I like deleted the app and I would re-download it to see if like I had a corrupted file or something. Nope, just didn't open. It would say it was open, but it would not open. So,
how many times have they changed their OS?
Well, in the last year, like I think 3 times. Or I mean, you're talking about because it started Snow Leopard, then it was Mountain Lion, then it was.
I thought those were further apart, like at least 4 years or something.
I know I jumped on this computer, so it was at least within a 2-year span. I'm trying to remember though. It was because I started on Snow Leopard. Then I went to Mountain Lion. Then it went to Mavericks. Then it went down. Now it's on Yosemite. Which, by the way, you started off with the cats, with Mountain Lion or Snow Leopard and Mountain Lion, and then you went to Maverick, which was kind of weird. And now you're on Yosemite.
They just ran out of things to name it.
They throw open a dictionary and they flip to a page and they're saying that's the name of the OS now.
No.
But they call it OS X now.
It's a dartboard.
Oh, fair enough.
And everyone has to drink at least 7 shots of tequila. And then they just throw. And however many darts land on that space is whichever one wins.
I picture Apple offices being a lot like the offices on Wolf of Wall Street. and like they have like midgets that they throw at a board of just words, and whatever midget lands on whatever the selected golden midget is, it's got to be golden too. Whatever golden midget lands on it, that's the name of the new OS. But yeah, no, they've been updating fast. In fact, I'm still on Mavericks because it was okay. I liked a lot of the things it did, and it keeps on like poking me saying, "Hey, you can update to Yosemite. Hey, you can update to Yosemite. Hey, you can update to," and I'm like, listen, if it's been this long and I still haven't updated, I'm not updating to it. I'm not doing it.
Why aren't you updating to Yosemite? What's wrong with Yosemite?
Because I just don't want to. There's nothing different. It's not like I'm gonna click. All right, let's go to the. It's not like with Windows. It's not like with Windows where if you go from 7 to 8, totally different.
Yeah,
completely different experience.
8 was ridiculous.
Completely different experience, and I think.
Which they're coming out with. 10?
10, they skipped 9.
Why'd they skip 9?
It's old news. It's stupid, but because why not? But they're coming out with 10, and 10's gonna be a mixture of both of them because they don't want to admit that they were wrong, so they're gonna still throw it in there, but they're gonna be like, but we were wrong. So it's kind of the 7 interface, but it's not like if I update, it's gonna be crazy different. Guess what? The big thing is if I update to Yosemite, the buttons are gonna look different. Ooh. I'm gonna have a different different search hub or whatever. I've looked it up. It's like whoop-de-fucking-do. I'm updating to a newer, untested, unpatched operating system for the added benefit of the color, it's like, why?
I
Why
don't
do
know.
I gotta update? No point.
Because Apple told you to, and
I'll
because it's
just
new.
I'll just hit the remind me later button until I die or until I get a PC, which I'm no offense, but this is like my last Mac. Until Mac is like, all right, we're going back into the workhorse computers. Cause that's everybody edited and did media creation. Mac had that market cornered. They've totally abandoned that market now. It's all like it's now all about whoever has money.
It's casuals.
And and the fact is that new Mac that came out is a glorified internet browsing machine. That is
It's
all it can
casuals.
really do.
But I don't understand how people have enough money for Mac just on a basis, because every computer super expensive out the gate just to get it functional.
It does work.
It always works.
It does work. I will say it is nice.
As soon as it's someone who's not casual and's all, okay, and now I need to plug in a hard drive to store things. Oh, shit. I gotta buy 7 different cables because I wasn't on a Mac before. Oh, I gotta buy a new adapter. Oh, they came out with a new USB. Oh, now they have a new faster connection to charge the laptop to make sure that doesn't die.
They're losing me. They're losing me I used to be like, I mean, I never really participated in the Mac versus PC thing because I was like, they are different. They are internally and at a core different workflows.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times I tell people, if you like the Mac workflow, then if you like the functionality of the Mac workflow, go with a Mac because that is true. That is a very true and valid point. I like the fact that everything is self-contained. Everything is a good example was I had a PC, and if I uninstalled projects, guess what? If I uninstalled programs, those programs were still on my hard drive. All the files that it created and everything, it didn't delete those things. It just uninstalled them. Now with the Mac, the thing I like about that is it's every app is an app. It's one thing, and that one thing references everything. And if I take that and drag it to the trash, delete it, it's uninstalled. It's deleted off my hard drive. It's gone. I mean, unless it made extra folders and things like that, which I'm finding like a couple things made like when I downloaded Daz made extra folders and
which reminds me, I have to go through that stuff on my PC.
But I like that. I like the streamlinedness of it. I like the easy to navigate through. The Finder's not great.
No,
it's definitely not great. But if you hit Command Space, it'll bring up a search bar and that'll search everything. And it's really fast. Like when I would search my whole computer for a file on PC, I'd have to wait for a little loading bar that was checking every single thing. But that thing, it'll come up with what I use first, and it'll track kind of what I use, so it'll bring up what I need before everything. The widgets are really nice. I like the interface. But for the price that I got that computer for, and that's also another thing. I still tell people, if you're gonna buy a workhorse PC or workhorse laptop, like something you can really edit on and everything, but you want it in a laptop because you travel a lot and you want it to be small, I tell them go Mac, because the size of the Mac, the heat capability, and how it works, and you can actually get something that works decent. I mean, my computer specs out pretty similar to yours. Yeah, I think maybe slightly under, maybe. But not much. Because I think you have more RAM than I do.
Yeah.
But
all that RAM.
A friend of mine came to me and said, "Hey, I want to build, or what if I were to buy an iMac? What would I buy?" And I'm like, "You mean the desktop PC?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking of buying one. Which one should I buy?" He said he got $2,000 to drop, and I'm like, "I wouldn't buy an iMac. If you have $2,000 to drop, I was like, you could buy an awesome workhorse for $2,000."
That's funny. $2,000. You can get the low end tower at most.
Low end tower? Oh, for Mac. Yeah.
For Mac, the low cheap tower. And
and you barely can upgrade it.
Yeah, and that will be shitty. And most likely will not run programs that well. But at least you have you'll have the proper OS to run everything. Why are you listening?
You'll have the only benefit is you will have the Mac interface.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, that really, honestly, but by $2,000, because I showed him. He was like, yeah, but then he was like talking about buying Dell or Alienware laptops or things like that, and I'm like, hold on, if you're gonna buy a PC, don't buy pre-built. I know I know a lot of people do, and it's stupid. No offense, sorry Alienware, sorry. I really, you guys actually, well, okay.
You can price it out for cheaper usually.
Redactment. Alienware makes really cool computers and laptops. Definitely get their stuff, but a lot of it is for gamers that is a bit more flash, I think, than operation. Yeah. Which if you are a gamer, that's great for you because you won't get, you won't be like, I need to max out my computer and spend $4,000 to $5,000 on a computer to run video games that really, honestly, you could probably have done for $500 to $600.
To be honest, I don't see purchasing that much capability to be all, I'm going to run Crysis at 60 frames a second at the max.
2,000 frames a second.
What is it? They go up to 120 at resolution of like
depending on your monitor.
With
if you don't have a monitor
and all this other shit.
If you have a monitor that does 60 hertz, the extra frame rate, you won't be able to tell.
Yeah.
So, but if I told him if you were to build a PC, he's like, yeah, but I don't really know how to build a PC. And I was like, hold on. And I showed him this website. It was called, I forget what it's called. PC. I basically Googled, and this is how you can find it. I Googled, and it'll be in the link dump if you guys are interested. I just Googled PC building website. And essentially this website was something where it lists all the things that you need to build a PC, and they're all drop-down menus. And then all you do is you go and you find out what you want. I told them, go to Newegg, do a little bit of research, find what's in your price range. Then find that on that PC builder, find the thing that you decide to purchase, click on it. It'll tell you what it is, where you can buy it for that price. If it's on sale, things like that, it's really nice. But it'll also say if it works together, and it'll also tell you if you can put it all together. And then honestly, assembling it, A connector goes into A slot, B connector goes into B slot. It's really simple. It's like all you have to do is kind of do the initial research of what you want and how much you want to spend, and then after that, and you'll essentially save, I think, about $500 if you buy unbuilt and build it yourself.
Yeah,
which is a huge discount, to me at least. Who builds like medium range consumer grade PCs.
The only slight benefit is Origin, only because they write off the really expensive cards. That's the only thing I'll say. Because you can get a K6000 for like.
But it's also one of those things where, once again, he's going to edit. He's not going to be doing 3D work. He does effects, but he's does After Effects. He doesn't do 3D stuff. So it's like he doesn't need a crazy graphics card. He doesn't need, a Xeon CPU. We're getting really nerdy now.
Yes, you do.
You don't need that stuff to edit.
You need it for games.
You're wrong.
Especially Battlefield.
You are totally wrong. You could probably run Battlefield really good, really well on an $800 PC. Just saying. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where if you're going to buy something that's stationary, you're not really going to think about it. A cabinet, honestly, is the best thing because it stores away really nicely, really easily, and you will get so much more functionality out of it, especially if you're using it as a workhorse rather than as like a internet browsing machine.
Yeah.
If you're using it as a workhorse and it's desktop, it's not going to move. You're not going to take it all over the place. You're not traveling all the time. Definitely get PC. That's my vote at least.
Yeah.
You're an all PC guy though, so you're a little biased.
I went over to a Mac. What are they calling those? The small square, like desktop thing that you could basically toss and break in 5 seconds. It was like the size of that box.
I'm trying to think what you're talking about.
Was it a MacBook back then?
Well, the MacBooks were white. Were all white, and
it was all white.
Yeah, I started on a MacBook.
Square thing.
Base price $1,000.
Yeah, which was $1,000 base price. Can't upgrade it. I think you could pull out.
You could upgrade those. You could upgrade those. You could upgrade the RAM.
Yeah.
And I think you could upgrade the hard drive, but the CPU, the motherboard, all that, you're stuck with.
The thing was so small that pretty much anything you bought off Newegg couldn't fit in it. Which
Usually you had to send it to an Apple technician to
Yeah.
get it uploaded. And that's the same thing with the new stuff.
Yeah,
You got to
so
send it
all
to a
those-
technician.
So upgrading was basically already streamlined for them to get your money anyways. And then it was just I didn't like it because it overheated. That was the only issue I had.
It was warm. Mine scared me because it had a rubber base on the bottom of it
Weird rubber base thing was so funny.
that was just glued onto it. So when it got too hot, the glue melted off of it, and suddenly now I had a bubble on the bottom. Which the funny thing was, our friend Brian, he was a Mac tech for a little bit, and he like looked at the back thing. And he was like, "Dude," because that's what it looked like. What a battery looks like when it's about to explode, like it was expanding. And I was telling him, "No, it's just an air bubble," and I'd poke it. And it would always sit like all wonky because the air bubble would, and I like tried re-gluing it and everything didn't work. But he like freaked out. He was like, "Dude, that battery is gonna explode. Get that out of your hands." Like he was like ready to like grab it and throw it, and it would explode in the air like a movie. But
that doesn't happen.
yeah, you know, my brother. This was one thing I kind of was like, "Thanks, parents." So I was the first one to get. You know, I was the oldest in my family.
Yeah.
So I got myself a MacBook because my father is a hardcore Mac guy. Like he had a PC, he worked with Dell a lot. Got a Mac. He all Mac all the time. So he gets me a MacBook. For my, you know, I think I was 15, 16.
Yeah.
Which is very expensive to spend on a 15, 16-year-old. But I get a MacBook and I'm really excited. I'm like, "Oh, this is great. It's $1,000 and everything." My brother, who was, I believe, 10 at the time.
Yeah.
The next Christmas, he wanted a laptop so badly because he saw I had one. They got him a MacBook Pro, which is an extra, I believe, $500, and it had all the different connections I had. So when I got to college and I had this MacBook, when we started college, FireWire was what you used. Like everyone was like, use FireWire for everything. You know, we didn't need adapters because all the computers had FireWire and everything. I didn't have the MacBook original didn't have a FireWire cable, nor did it have Ethernet cables or anything like that. So you were kind of stuck with, you know, just what you had, USB and everything like that. And I was like, I can't really work on this thing. It's once again a glorified internet browsing machine to me. That's all I ever used it for. So I made the argument about that and got my parents to kind of go in with me on a new laptop. And now I was like, listen, if we're gonna get a new laptop, we should just like max it out, call it, and then, you know, that way I won't need one for a really long time. Because Macs they do last longer than PCs. Their longevity usually is the pieces stay long, or like the pieces work for longer than I've seen most PCs. Most PCs I see, they overheat or crap out, and you'll need to replace and change more often than a Mac. At the station, we have Macs that have been there since like they built the place, and they still work fine. One other benefit to Mac, but Mac is pissing me off just as of late. I'm kind of like, if I ever need a new PC, which we're actually looking at one for a render machine essentially, like one that's like it has no internet capabilities, it has nothing, no this and that, but we're gonna just basically put in a crap ton of RAM, a decent enough CPU, because CPU is not really very important.
It depends if we're doing
depending
3D.
on what you use. Depending on what you use. Well, no, it's not that important for 3D because 3D uses a lot more GPU than CPU. Depending on,
if you're using Blender, you have to use CPU.
I think they patched that out. I'm pretty sure I saw in their recent notes that they patched it, that you could use GPU because you're talking about the smoke effects, right?
Yeah, but after a certain point, if the scene has too many high fidelity objects,
well, you want to put an i7 in it anyway. I mean, you want to put an i7 in it just because they're quality built.
i7.
Yeah.
I want a Xeon in that bitch.
Dude, those are professional grade. Dude, listen, you can work with high-end consumer grade. So
whatever. What
he's talking about, Xeon versus just the basic i7. i7 is consumer grade. A Xeon is meant for like server farms and like the big things that you're using to like render farms. They're not. They have the exact same performance. The only difference is they are rigorously tested, so they know, because like you can kind of get a couple of bugs in consumer grade stuff every once in a while.
Yeah.
But the Xeon is the one that will last longer on average. I think they last like 2 to 3 years longer.
Yeah, that's like the difference between the GTXs and the Quadros.
The Quadro, yeah. So, but I'm just like, I get it, but it seems like the price difference, you can buy two GTX GeForces i7s for the same price you could buy the professional grade one. And that to me seems like I don't know. You're all like, oh, we got to get the best of everything. That's not true to me. I'm the realist. Even though I use Mac. Even though I use Mac.
Your way takes too much time.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. You can get the consumer grade probably to you way faster than you could get a Xeon.
But the Xeon will render faster.
That's not true. That's not true at all. The performance of the Quadro, the performance of the Quadro and the GTX can be exactly the same. It's just one is more tested than the other. That's the only difference.
Exactly.
It's the only difference. That doesn't mean it renders faster.
Hey.
Anyway.
But it makes sure that it won't explode, right?
Gonna get a render machine. It's gonna be a PC. That's it. I'm done with this topic.
We could get a Mac.
We've hammered this topic into the fucking ground.
We could really get a Mac.
We could get a Mac, but why would you?
It's
Exactly.
plug and play?
Exactly. We don't need plug and play. We need a render farm. We need another piece of hardware that will not work for us, like all the rest of our stuff that we have that doesn't work for us.
Don't worry. As soon as we get the Oculus or something, we'll have to figure out tons of workarounds to get that to work.
Well, actually, I've been told it's pretty user friendly. Actually,
Oh.
for a dev kit, it's actually pretty user friendly.
Well, then I guess we're talking about the HTC then.
Well, that one's not even out.
Exactly. None of them are out.
Hey, we got mentioned on a friend of ours podcast.
Friend of ours?
Yeah, Robert or Matt. Did I say Robert? Have you listened to the We Are Entertained podcast?
I listen to every podcast all the time.
That's not true. Have you listened to the We Are Entertained podcast?
I will say yes.
Okay, so he hasn't listened to you guys, but I do. They're a film podcast that they do. Basically, they watch movies. They started with the Oscars was the first stuff, but they watch movies. They basically review them. They watch They watch a bunch of things. They're actually really interesting. It's him and Rich, and they just sit around. They have very calming and soothing voices. I actually was listening to them, and I'm just like, their voices are very velvety. You know, like molasses, but nice to your ears. Whereas we're just like loud and noisy. We're like the kids on Xbox that you don't like to listen to. Exactly.
I don't play Xbox, so no.
They're on everywhere. They're ever get in a chat room and there's a bunch of kids in it. Yes, you have. No. Anyway,
have you been to the chat room
on PlayStation?
On PlayStation?
Hell yeah, I have.
It's different.
I was playing GTA 5 yesterday.
Chat rooms on PlayStation are different because everyone.
I played GTA 5 and it was
stuck up.
Awful. Stuck up, and they're also 5-year-olds.
But at least they're not saying fuck all the time.
They are saying fuck all the time. Bullshit, they're not saying fuck all the time. But they aren't fucking all the time. Boom! Anyway, speaking of fucking...
You had a chat room where someone was having sex.
Speaking of fucking, the We Are Entertained podcast. If you guys definitely should check them out. They're on iTunes. They are an awesome podcast, and I really like their outlook on a lot of things. They just recently did Chappie, and they're weekly. So definitely check them out. Give them a sub. Chappie? I am not there yet. I'm catching up on the podcast. Lied. I'm currently listening to what was the name of the one I'm listening to? It was Void. I have it on my phone. Hold on. But they have a really interesting opinion. I really like that they're both very contrasty. Matt's very artsy, and Rich is a bit more the consumer side of things. He's kind of like he doesn't see all the movies and everything.
Yeah.
Focus. I'm on Focus right now. I'm about
Focus
30 minutes
an
away.
Actually good movie.
And then Chappie's the new one they just came out with this last week, so I'm gonna definitely listen to that.
Chappie was actually a terrible movie.
So, what? Chappie was a good movie.
I hated Chappie. For
more information about Chappie, though, listen to the We Are Entertained podcast. They are really it's a really good podcast. At first I was a little hesitant because I was like, I know them and everything, but I'm like I'm gonna give them a chance, and I'm hooked. I listen to them all the time.
You also can't trust Sage because he plugs everything.
So after, that's not true. After I'm plugging Mac, go buy Mac. So after you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Lazy Revolver on YouTube, and after you subscribe to Lazy Revolver on iTunes, and after you send us some money at P.O. Box 457765, this is not a real P.O. Box.com, which is we should try to go get that as a domain so it doesn't become a porn site. But definitely give them a subscribe on iTunes. They're great guys. They're with Dragonfly Pictures. They work with Dragonfly Pictures. And they are kind of Dragonfly Pictures.
Yes.
I say kind of. They are Dragonfly Pictures. Just opened up a studio up in North Phoenix.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. Got to see their studio yesterday.
It's kind of far, but yeah.
It is far, but it's more than we got.
Spacious.
I'm looking at my.
This is spacious.
We are in front of a white wall in my apartment.
Yeah, your apartment is so spacious. So look at all
the
real estate we have.
The wall that's
film.
on the other side of the camera. Yeah, that thing's great. And
it's a living room.
The kitchen that
goes
right
at
there,
least another 70 feet.
and the bedroom is right there.
It goes
really
at
spacious.
least another 100 feet.
I mean, listen, we're pretty close to getting ourselves a white psych wall, right?
Yes.
No, that's not true.
That is so true. There's at least
but give the VR
square feet in this place.
When you're done listening to Nate being a bitch.
Hey, baby feet.
Baby feet. These little tiny steps. It's the same thing. It's a foot.
Exactly.
Listen to the We Are Entertained podcast. They're actually a really awesome podcast. Enough with plugging our friends' stuff because we don't like plugging things apparently.
I hate you. Anyways,
exactly.
So moving
Heists came out. Yeah, they did it.
And guess
congratulations,
how many of you,
Rockstar.
And
you graduated.
You want to know how surprising it was to hear that it was out? Because no one cared at this point. I honestly did not know until you told me 10 minutes ago that they finally came out. And then I was all, cool. Wait. We don't have the same system.
So
guess we're not playing.
So you want to know how I found out? I was on set yesterday for a friend of ours, and the actor on it, his name's Richard Anderson. He basically goes, his scene wrapped, and he's like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to go do some heists. And I'm like, heists? What do you mean heists? And he's like, GTA 5, they just came out with the heist. I'm like, what? How did I not know this? How did that information get by me? I do not understand. And he was like, yeah, they came out 2 days ago. So get all your news on Lazy Revolver. All your gaming news right here as soon as it comes out a couple days later.
We could do the news, but that would tough.
Yeah, and we can't do the news if we're missing out on GTA Heist being the news. So I get on GTA 5.
Stay on Twitter.
I get on GTA 5 last night, and I go and I immediately regret it because I forgot that I made an online account but never actually customized my character or anything like that. So I'm suddenly this gangster redhead guy that kind of looks like.
Oh, your brother was playing. I forgot.
Oh, was that who made that account?
Yes.
I was like, why am I a redhead? I don't remember making this account.
Oh, and he killed a bunch of people. So you're
he had headphones on and glasses. So I immediately go to I immediately am like, all right, screw this, and I go to a store and I make myself look kind of like me a little bit.
Except you're still a redhead.
Except I'm not muscular at all.
And you're a redhead.
No, I changed the color. Cut the hair, all that.
You don't have red hair naturally.
I don't. That's why I said I changed the color from red. You dumbass.
I remember when your hair was
Listen
blonde.
to me.
That was weird.
Well, now I have brown hair with blonde highlights. I don't have blonde highlights, but I like to think I do.
You just have.
In my head, I have blonde highlights.
Yeah, you're. The blonde hair. Now I'm thinking about it was just weird.
But here's the great thing about this topic of the podcast. I haven't played a single heist yet. So thank you for listening.
Why haven't you played a single heist? Why was there all this buildup for you just to come back? Didn't play any heist yet.
So I get on GTA 5. I basically buy all the stuff to make my character look like the way I want him. I'm about to get into a heist. And then I get really tired and I went to bed. So that's about my experience with GTA 5 last night.
10 out of 10.
Really excited for the heists. Thanks, Rockstar, for getting them out on time.
You're really not kidding about this being a sarcastic bitch podcast. That's the new title.
Sage Rage 2015. Well, that's it. That's all I got. You got anything for this podcast? Because I'm done.
Why do you keep plugging?
I'm just...
Sage Rage.
Hashtag.
To be honest, I'm not going to play GTA again.
You don't like open worlds.
I love open worlds. I don't
like open worlds.
I don't like GTA.
GTA?
GTA.
GTA. That sounds like a...
I played the shit out of
Grand Theft Auto
Saints Row and Batman Arkham City. GTA is not my cup of tea.
I think you had one bad experience and you were like, oh, well, fuck this. I think you got online.
I tried to play the
single
player so long, and then I just...
You got online.
It was like Skyrim. I don't like
You
Skyrim.
got online, got sniped immediately, and were like, well, fuck this thing, and like left.
No. Let's be honest. We tried to do a Let's Play with all of us online with GTA.
And it was a lot of fun.
You know how ridiculous the netcode was?
Check out the Lazy Revolver YouTube channel.
The netcode was literally... I got kicked from every time I tried to join you, and every time I pulled up the menu, I got ran over by someone.
Sounds like a personal problem. It was also new. I mean, you can't really it was a new game. I mean, out of all the games this year last year that were broken, I mean, not that bad.
Call of Duty's netcode is never broken.
What?
Yeah.
That's horseshit.
That's an actual thing.
That is horseshit.
That's an actual thing.
That is horseshit. Never broken?
Yes.
All right, let's see what happens when the next Call of Duty comes out.
You remember when
Advanced Warfare
came out?
I'm pretty sure Advanced Warfare was down the first couple of days.
No.
Says the guy who didn't get it. You didn't get it, so you don't know.
No. The reason
this is
I
totally
didn't get
you don't know. You don't know this. You're just saying things.
Which we were gonna do a Let's Play in that, but
we're broke and we can't afford it.
Yeah, that's looking on that. You wanted to play zombies.
I do want to play zombies.
That's not included in the game.
You're right. I still want it though.
You have to purchase it separately.
Exactly.
For $50.
So I know we're going to get on a tangent. This will be the last tangent that I get. What is with the money-hungry society we're in right now? I feel like everything is all about splitting the content up so that in games you see it. I mean, we were just harping about it for about 40 minutes on Mac. It's like we're doing the best we can to give the purchaser the least bang for their buck.
Yeah.
The idea that multiplayer only games coming out at full retail price. It's like where then it's like then on top of that to buy anything new, you have to purchase everything else to go with it. Yeah. If you want a skin pack, if you want this, if you want that, you got to pay the extra money. What is with that? Packs,
I don't really care about, but there are certain things that just...
Evolve had tons of them.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So many skin packs for Evolve, and then they were trying to hold off a character or something. I think they still are. A couple characters you have to buy.
Listen, I know these studios...
Which have all dropped off.
I know studios have to make their money, but I do not understand the idea of we're going to make sure we give the customer the least amount possible for their stuff. They back in the golden age of games, they and I mean hopefully we'll have it again, but it was one of those things where you buy and we've talked about this before. You buy the game, that's the game.
Yeah.
That's the whole experience. You wait till the next game comes out before you do it. But ever since, DLC and add-ons and everything, I mean, we can take this out of video games and go with Mac and saying the USB-C. not only do you have to buy the cable, you have to buy the extensions. Now, bringing it back to games, you don't just buy the game, you also buy the season pass for the game. If you want anything extra that's not included in the season pass for the game, you need to then buy the next game if they come out with the next game. It's one of those things where it's like by the end of one game cycle, you've probably paid over $100, over to $100 to $200 for what was originally a $60 game. If you want to keep and the problem I have with this is the fact that like when Halo, it really pissed me off whenever they went to DLC. When Halo would release new maps, suddenly now I was getting kicked out of matches because I didn't have those maps.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of those things where I'm like, so I can't play this game now because I don't want to spend an extra $20 for 3 new maps and that's it? $20 for maps.
Yeah. Which they don't give you that much. And then the worst thing was, I will still harp on Destiny. Why the hell is that season pass nearly half the price of the game?
For what was it? It was like 3 missions and a raid.
Yeah, 3 missions and a raid,
and some gear.
And it's
that
not
was
even
available
missions,
to everyone.
It's not even missions that make the game better. The game still sucked.
Well, I mean, it's just extra stuff. It doesn't really tell any story.
The story still sucked. Everyone bought the DLC going, oh, they're finally going to hammer out the story. We'll finally get all the stuff that they tell us to go to this external website, which they should have put in the game. All of that bullshit they put on the website should have been in the game to explain like half of the shit that you're doing.
They do that. The funny thing is they do that in everything. They have that the codex and everything. They put those in games all the time. I mean, but Mass Effect was one of the big ones that did that. You could read the whole history of Mass Effect on the game, though.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was taken out of the game.
Yeah, but even if it had to be something
Bitch Podcast 2015.
Like the Codex of Destiny you have to read, at least it would have been in the fucking game. Now they were telling me, oh, on top of you having to grind the shit out of this to get anything good as soon as you get past the end game content, which is just the story, and then they're all, oh, do raids. For you to get to the level to do raids, you have to put in like hundreds of hours to get so much tedious resources and level up gear that is not going to help you at all. Because, to be honest, as soon as the level cap gets to the light level, everything gets buffed. Your equipment sucks. And as soon as you get equipment that is at least allowing you to survive, your gun is as good as it was when you were back at level 1 fighting against level 1 enemies.
Because the enemies scale with you.
That's a good mechanic, right? You will never feel powerful in Destiny.
But you're specifically talking about Destiny. I'm talking about in general. Because the biggest problem is the fact that I understand. Let's start off with saying I understand that with bigger games, bigger consoles, bigger budgets, they got to make their money back. And a $60 surcharge for whatever reason does not make their money back.
Then why don't they just all raise to 80? Because they're already asking most games for you to do 80 to get the full experience.
Because and here's what I think. I don't like this. I think it's bad business ethics. You're gonna end up spending 80 anyway.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like it because it's spaced out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I do not like, because it's one of those things where if you really honestly truly look at it, like let's say the Titanfall.
Yeah.
Multiplayer only, retailed full price, full price DLCs.
Titanfall kind of disappeared.
Who's playing Titanfall now? How many people do you think thought this was going to be a big game that was going to last forever and everything like that? Because, I mean, technically the game never ends. There's no story. You don't finish the game. It never ends. So how many people do you think had invested in at least $100, $200 into this game that they don't play anymore?
Well, it's the same issue with Evolve. Evolve dropped off even quicker. Evolve released last month. If you go into a lobby now, there's almost half.
Do you have Evolve? Because I don't have Evolve, so I still want to play Evolve.
I borrowed it from someone.
It looks good
because we still have discs.
It looks really good to me.
Someone. It is kind of difficult to find people to play with.
You know,
maybe it's
knuckle popping.
That's gross. It's gonna sound disgusting on the mic.
Yeah, it is.
But just to be clear, everyone should support The Witcher 3. Plug. Because...
What if I haven't played Witcher 1 or 2?
But they're gonna release the entire experience, and any updates are free.
That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah. So all that
Where can I buy?
is
Can
free.
I buy Witcher 1 and 2?
Free.
Can I buy Witcher 1 and 2? Where can I buy it?
Steam? I don't know.
Is it not on consoles?
It might be on...
No offense,
It was on the original
PC gamers.
Xbox,
I have a Mac.
right?
I can't really do Steam.
It was on the original Xbox.
Damn
I
it.
think.
Damn it. The only consoles I don't have. PC and Xbox. I had an Xbox at one point, and I lost power cable to it.
You have an Xbox 360 sitting there.
So no power cable. So one other thing, I saw on Facebook was what GameStop does to their games when they're done with them, if they don't work, and all their equipment that they do, I say don't work, but if they're returned, and they're beyond sell price.
Okay.
So there was a video on Facebook where basically a guy went through the dumpster. And I don't know if this video is old or not. It's new to me.
Okay.
He went through the dumpster in GameStop and found a bunch of discs, game discs, in the dumpster, and controllers, headphones, things like that with the cables cut. The controllers themselves completely intact, completely fine, but they cut the cables so no one could take them out of the dumpster and use them. They scratched the discs, like they took like coins or something to the discs and would scratch them because they're outdated, they're sold, and they I guess they need to take down their inventory and things like that. And the guy was kind of saying like, why, if you didn't want these and you couldn't sell them, why didn't you donate them?
Bad business.
Well, honestly, he was making a good point of why wouldn't you donate the games to. I'm trying my best to not support GameStop when I can. It's just they burn you so many times. I mean, they give you $4 for your game and then sell it for 20. Like that. I mean, it'd be one thing. I understand taking a hit when you're selling games because you're like, you're never going to get it back.
Depreciating value and stuff.
But depreciating that much.
Yeah. There
was somebody who said, I remember I was on the phone, or I was trading in my Xbox, or I think it was Xbox, and they got a call in, somebody asking, hey, Halo 4 came out, and it was like half a year ago, 6 months. Halo 4 came out. How much can I get for Halo 4? And they said, we can give you about $3. I then looked over to the Xbox section, and Halo 4 was still retailing at about $39.99. I was like, you are telling me you're going to upcharge that that much, but you're going to screw over the people that are trying to sell it? Because and the funny thing is they keep 100% of the profits of resales.
That's how GameStop has been able to stay around so long, right?
No offense, but with that business mentality, I hope they go out of business.
Dude, everyone is getting annoyed with it, and with digital, the only good thing about digital is that it's going to get rid of GameStop. Slight bad thing is I won't be able to give you any discs, which you've already been bitching about.
Possibly. Steam's kind of leading the charge of shareable digital games.
Okay. But
with the family plans and all that.
But Gamefly's cool. Might want to look into that. I'm
not a fan of the wait times on Gamefly. I've been told the wait times are pretty bad. So, I don't know. I mean, and also the fact that I would want to play new games. Yeah. Like if I was into retro gaming, like really into retro gaming, I bet you Gamefly would be great because I could get games in and out constantly. But I would want to play like Evolve or Modern Warfare, Advanced Warfare. I'd want to play all those, and I'm sure almost every Gamefly copy is probably out right now.
For games like that, for games that I've been waiting for to make sure that they're not broken to shit, as Battlefield 4 was.
Battlefield Hardline. It's gonna be just as broken. Hopefully not. It's gonna be cool.
We'll find out because I'm gonna actually. Never mind. I'm not gonna say.
Are you gonna pre-order? Are you gonna pre-order?
I'm not gonna pre-order. I'm going to get it.
You should. If you're gonna get it, you should just pre-order. It doesn't make any sense not to pre-order.
I don't
You
support
pay,
pre-orders.
but you pay the same amount.
I know. I don't support pre-orders though.
But you pay the same amount.
But I think they're bullshit.
But you
It's
pay the
just
same amount.
It's just the ethical thing with it.
But well, why don't you pre-order straight through them then?
Through the actual
through like who makes
the game.
the game? Yeah, who makes it?
Oh, not because of the pre-order bonuses. I think it's bullshit, but I think because I don't want to put money down after I've been burned with a game like Wet until I know for sure that the game is.
So you're saying
working.
you're still gonna wait?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was asking. If you're gonna put, if you're gonna put 40, because I know people that would go in the day after and buy the straight game, like day after release, they'd buy the straight game, and I'm like, why didn't you just? They're like, oh, I was gonna do this anyway, and I'm like, why wouldn't you pre-order? You at least get extra shit. You're paying the same stuff, but you at least get extra shit. Like you would think that would make sense, but they're like, no, I never pre-order. And I'm like, but you buy immediately after. You're actually hurting yourself in that point. Well, because you're still getting a broken game, but without the extra shit.
Well, with that mentality, most of them, I think, wait till their favorite news outlet or whatever, or reviewer came out with their review the day, and then they're all, okay, this game is all right. I'll go get it.
I guess.
Instead of going, oh, I just purchased this game, and I played it, and it's complete shit. And then they're all, oh, the favorite reviewer I got said it was complete shit. I should have waited for him to tell me.
I guess.
Which reviews are kind of going out?
I personally don't trust reviews anyway. I feel like there's games I love that have terrible reviews. I mean, Halo, I love Halo, but honestly, if you look at the reviews, it's generic bullshit shooter, generic shooter. It's not. It's no fun. Everything it does exactly the same as all these other games, and I'm like, but I like it. Yeah. So that's the one thing I will say with reviews is, and the one thing I do say, a lot of people say don't pre-order games because you want to make sure it works. But here's my only problem with that is the fact that there has to be some people that it doesn't work with before it starts to work with people. I mean, obviously it worked when it went out the door. It worked enough for a day one patch. But you find problems based on a worldwide release.
Okay.
You find problems that you will never be able to find in studio.
Multiplayer, yes. Single player Assassin's Creed, no.
I don't know what happened there.
Faces.
I don't know what happened there.
What?
I do not know what happened there.
It's a funny glitch, but certain things.
Well, Skyrim. But the funny thing is it's one of those things where it's like iffy because like Skyrim had a ton of bugs, ton of bugs, but they were all funny and they were all interesting, and people actually liked it, and it actually added to the game more so than took away from it.
Yeah.
And so, but then people are like, well, Assassin's Creed came out broken, and you're like, well, I mean, so was Skyrim. Yeah. I mean, they're essentially the same types of bugs. They're not game breaking; they are immersion breaking, but they're not game breaking.
Game breaking. Oh, I should go back and play. What was it? Medal of Honor Warfighter. The first level. Character can't move.
Spoiler, by the way.
Cinematic ends. Go to move. Oh, my controller's not working. Restart the game. Same thing. I restarted 7 times and then gave the game back to my generous cousin and never touched it again. Those are game-breaking bugs. If the game literally does not run...
What if?
That is like...
We should create a game that has no controls.
No
like controls? It has all the physics, all the like you see the wind waving the hair, the clothes and all that. It's this whole cinematic opening and everything, and then they get to the what most people would think is the game section and it just doesn't do anything. Everyone thinks it's broken.
No. I got it.
And it's not.
I got the idea. It's perfect. So you're a guy who's strapped into one of those insane asylum jackets or whatever, straight jacket, feet bound and everything. They push you out of a plane. And they say, get free, get the parachute.
And it's a game designed for you to fail, or you'd like say...
It's a game designed for you to fail. You literally can't get free, and you can't grab the parachute.
Or you can buy a game called Succulent.
Succulent.
I showed you Succulent.
That's
the game with the guy that sucks on a popsicle.
that free?
No, I don't
That
think
costs
so.
money?
I think it does. I think on Steam it costs like $2.
Okay, Steam Greenlight. What the fuck? You can't.
Thank you guys for listening to us.
Charge for everything.
Thank you guys for letting us bitch in your ear for an hour and 20 minutes. But
the Bitchy Podcast.
we gotta wrap it up. So until next time, hopefully Zane will be back from New York next week. We'll see. He's gonna get in, and he's a high school student, so he's got homework.
Or the
he'll have to do some
podcast
stuff.
will dwindle down to one person.
Yeah, it'll just be me sitting there going, "Hey guys, everyone left me. I don't know what to talk about." Or, well, actually, I probably could talk to myself for a really long time. I probably could do it.
Voices.
That will be the 3-hour
split
podcast.
Personality.
I'll just sit there and talk to myself.
The split personality podcast.
I'll be like, you know what, Sage? What, Sage? That's all I had in that whole
Did you drink
imaginary
my
scenario.
coffee, Sage? No, it was my coffee, Sage.
That sounds like a short. Anyway, thank you for listening. Like this video. Subscribe to us. I need to write this down, like our end pitch, because I really don't have it. Subscribe to us.
Like, favorite, and subscribe. We're on Twitter and
we're on Twitter under the Lazy Revolver, and then Lazy Revolver Facebook page. We definitely are going to start putting some stuff on Reddit and Tumblr, as well as I think Imager.
I have no idea what he just listed, but okay.
Yep, we're on the socials.
Fuck is Imager?
The socials, Imager, Imgur, whatever you want to call it. I call it Imager.
Imgur.
We, definitely subscribe to We Are Entertained, and thank you guys for listening.
There's so many things for social media.
I'm like stretching the end of this podcast out for as long as possible. People have already probably turned it off. So for all of you loyal listeners,
let's be honest, they only listened. They only listened for the intro, and then they're all,
oh, it's just Sage and Nate. Screw
click.
that. We suffered enough through just Sage and Nate podcasts. We can't do that again. We can't go back.
But who thought we could? We even went back to the old H4 for you guys.
We're recording on our old recorder, which hopefully isn't too popular. Technical stuff. Bye.